teachers time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen.
It is a little over 13 years since the Education for All Global Monitoring Report began following progress towards international education goals. Over this time, many more children have had to go to school. On current trends, however, the promise made in Dakar will be broken for millions of children, young people, and adults, unless our governments act with the state of urgency to create a new order. This current quality blind approach adopted by governments in West Africa towards education is harming our children, is harming our families, and it is harming our teachers. Because today, as we speak, according to UNICEF reports, half of the world's out-of-school children are in sub-Saharan Africa. Half of out-of-school children are in sub-Saharan Africa. Welcome to the platform. My name is Ken Odu, and this is Leading Change. We will be back after this short break. Don't go away. Welcome back. Please join the discussion platform using our text line 024-218-6994. 024-218-6994. Tonight, we are in the studio with our guest, Arnold Parker. He is a banker and a development consultant to continue the discussion that we started last week on change and education. Today, we want to focus more on education as the father of all other developments in our nation and the world at large, because a South Korea official made this profound statement, and I want us to look at it. He said, the quality of education cannot exceed the quality of the leaders in education or the teachers. That is, the quality of education cannot exceed the quality of the teacher in the classroom. That is the statement that he made. We want to find out from you, what is your understanding of this statement?
Yeah, thank you very much, Ken. I think that's a very profound statement that this person has made, and I'm looking at it from the point of view of a pre-independence movement. I mean, if I get what you said right, then we can look at the quality of education that brought forth the Kwame Nkrumahs, the J.B. Dankwahs, the Nnamdi Azikiwes, the J. Kingsley Hayfords, and these were that was a generation that was able to rescue the running of their various countries from the colonialists. And if you look at where these nations are today in terms of development, then you'd realize obviously that you can point fingers at the quality of education that we have had over the last few decades. So I do agree with that statement entirely.
That's interesting. And the other report that we have from the little work that we did shows that in Ghana, as we speak now, between the ages of 15 and 29, who have had the opportunity to complete 6 years in school, that is the basic education, unfortunately cannot read a complete sentence. That is, out of every 10 ladies that you take within this age group, 5 of them cannot. And then out of every 3 young men within the same age group cannot also read a complete statement. And then it goes on further to say that 28% of women and then 33% of young men also within the same age group can only read part of a sentence. The first group, that is 50% of ladies within that age group, they cannot read complete sentence. 28% can only read part. The young men, that is 33% of them, cannot read a complete sentence. That is in Ghana. And this is a UNICEF report also. And that tells us where we are as a nation. So if we relate it to the first statement that the South Korean official made,
Yeah.
and from what you have just mentioned to us, it gives us the complete picture of where we are as a people. So what do you think are some of the things that we have to do with this age group of people? Let me give you this example before you tackle it. I was driving through town, so I decided to test this particular statistic. There's a young man who came to me with the car refreshener to sell. So I asked him what was written on it. He looked at me and said, car air conditioner. That's what was written on it.
Wow.
Yes. And these are the people, unfortunately, whether it is their making or not, they sell to us.
Yes.
We have gone to all the schools and we buy from this group of people.
Yes.
What does it tell us?
Well, I believe that what it tells us is that it paints a picture of where this nation would be in the next 20 to 50 years. You know, because these are young people who would obviously graduate into adults, and because of this low educational level, they may not be able to have very good, well-paying jobs apart from just being in business or in trading. And eventually, they would reach ages at which they will feel that they are more responsible and they ought to be earning very high incomes, able to take care of their responsibilities. But that would not have been the case. Then it becomes a burden on society. So year after year, what we are seeing happening is the expansion of this mass of young people who have not been properly educated to be able to take their own future and their own destiny into their own hands. And it does not, unfortunately, does not really augur well for this country. That's a sad thing, but that's basically where we are driving this nation towards.
Yeah, that's a serious information there for a country where a third of the young men
are unable to read.
Are unable to read. And then at the same time, 50% of that age group of women.
Yeah.
That is also a serious issue.
It's extremely serious. So what you then do in the process of planning with such a demography is to begin to look at what kind of jobs can be available for this class of people, and naturally what comes around would be basic manufacturing jobs that pay better than working on a farm, but at the same time do not require a lot of intellect, so that if it has to do with labeling or packing of boxes or arrangement of boxes and all that, at least when you begin to engage these people in such productive ventures, they're able to earn a little above what they would have earned if they were on the farms or if they were on the streets.
Welcome back. Few comments. One from Jonathan Akpo. He says, "Nail-driven rights, the real quality education, particularly for the girl child. Get it right, and a huge percentage of the problem is solved." I believe he's speaking to the situation where we have that percentage of 50 young ladies not being able to. Yes, so he's speaking to that, and that is a great one. And Jepo also wrote something there that he is looking at a collaboration between Leading Change and some schools to put the change, to put this change process in there. You can still join the discussion with on our text line 024-218-6994, and also on our Facebook page www.facebook.com/leading change. You can get there and then put your comments on it. We had Michael from Santa Maria sending us some text message, and I read: "Education is the only thing that can transform this country. Can you notice the bad habits we have because of low standards of education?" That is what Michael from Santa Maria has sent us. Yeah, we are still in the studio discussing change and economic development, looking at this, and helping us with the discussion is Arnold Parker, who is a banker and a development consultant. Arnold, we are still moving on. There is another comment here that we, during our research work, we came across, which is by Roland Berger Consultants. They said something connecting it to developing countries. He are saying that between 10 and 20 of graduate students that have graduated in developing countries do not have employable skills according to international standards. Between 10 and 20. So out of every 10 is only one graduate coming out of our tertiary institutions who has an international employable skill. Arnold, what do you make of this?
I think it's very true, and it may actually even be much higher. I see that all the time in the sector in which I work. I'll give you a typical example. In December and January, for instance, we had to conduct some interviews. We're looking for about 11 people to fill one department, and we conducted over 70 interviewees actually went through the panel. In the end, we just had about 4 who were okay. Out of about 70.
70.
Yes, and now this is just for one department of an institution, because then there was a massive recruitment going on across the institution. We're looking about close to maybe 60 people that were required for this year. And so far, of the 70 interviewees, only 4 have made it. And really, what are you looking out for? I mean, in most institutions, for instance, if they are not very specialized, the few things that you want to see is a skill set of somebody who's able to quickly think on their feet, able to express themselves well, able to communicate in good English, and you don't get that. So naturally it comes with what we are churning out. Our educational system has just become pass the next exam, and then go look for a job. What are the new things that we have to explore? By the time a student comes out of Legon or Tech or Kivas or UDS, for instance, they should have such a global perspective and realize how much opportunities there are in this country, for instance, that they will shun any company and move into the remotest part of this country and begin to create wealth.
This has been Leading Change, and our guest in the studio has been Arnold Parker, a banker and a development worker who has helped us in this particular discussion. Until we come your way again next week, this has been Leading Change, and have a good night. We also thank our back crew for all the help and assistance that they've given us.